Welcome to Milk Market Tidbit for the March federal milk marketing data that USDA released the last couple days. This is Dr. Lawrence Jones, and I'm recording this on April the 14th. So the overview is that the statistical uniform prices were up about 19 cents to about $16.90 when it's weighted by the amount of milk produced in each of the federal orders. We still have very heavy Class 4 depooling, which is not at all surprising given the rally up in non-fat dry milk and pulling the Class 4 price up. Month over month, it looks like milk is actually up. Part of that was Class 3 coming in, but the actual production was actually up, I think, also. And fat came down seasonally about 6 ticks. So here's our statistical uniform prices. As I said, they came up 19 cents, and our highest this year in Florida at $21.55. It's usually down here in the southeast somewhere. And the lowest due to this low Class 3 price is Minnesota, Wisconsin at $16.66, and that was the only one that was under $17. When we look at the change month over month, it was driven largely by the fact that there's a $1.43 difference between Class 3 and Class 4. Class 1 did come up 77 cents. Our largest increase was actually Arizona. They actually had a little bit of strange data here this month, but they were up $1.86. A lot of the regions were up just about $1, and the southeast was up a little bit lighter just because they're heavy Class 1. When we look at the actual production month over month, there were 3 regions that were down. That was Florida at 95%, Arizona at 86%, and order 33 at about 90%. The rest of the orders, federal order 1 were up about 2%, Midwest was up about 3%, Mid-Atlantic up about 1%. So again, we got to kind of figure out what overall production is going to look like. And so here's a graph of the total production. As I said, overall production came up. Class 3 came up significantly with it coming back into the region, and Class 4 came down only slightly because a lot of the regions were already depooling Class 4. I've been working on a new model to actually estimate milk production, so this is what I've got for March. I've got us coming in just about 20,456,000,000. That's going to be up 2.7% year over year, but I also have a variance associated with that. On the high side, we could be 20,595,000,000, and on the low side, 20,316,000,000. So it's going to range from 3.4% up to just 2%. Class 1 utilization was down a little bit. It was at 27.5. Again, if you bring in a bunch of Class 3, that's going to make that percentage lower. And our highest utilization is always in that southeast region. And the lowest is going to be Minnesota, Wisconsin, because they're so heavily on Class 3. As I said, Class 3 is coming back in. We still have not reached these peaks that we had back here in 2023, so there's a little bit of Class 3 still out of the pool. I expect when it all comes back in that we will be higher than what we had previously because we've added more plant capacity. And I would kind of venture a guess that we're about 15% of the Class 3 depooled. So our Class 3 utilization is the highest in Minnesota, Wisconsin, as we said. They're almost 90%. But the Pacific Northwest came up 19 ticks, and so they were somewhere close to 50% last month, and now they're up 73. Otherwise, there weren't a lot of changes. And we look at Class 4, it is way down here at the bottom, so we pulled basically all of the Class 4 milk out of the pool. What remains are the areas that don't do depooling, such as Order 1. And our highest utilization this month was Arizona at 28%. And Order 33 took almost 7 ticks off of its Class 4 utilization. Fat values came down about 6 ticks. The average across the regions 4.37. Florida dropped under 4, but the winner was the Pacific Northwest up here at 4.55. I've been working on a new model to predict fat percentages month over month, and this is a graph of like about the last 6 or 7 years, and overall it looks pretty good. If we print the production that I suggested, and we have a fat test as we kind of look. We're going to be up year over year about 4% in fat. So again, we're going to have another month of fairly strong fat production. The highest protein value was here in the Northwest at 353, and they were still pretty strong in around 3.4 across the rest of the nation there. So the statistical uniform prices here came out the last couple of days. Here on Wednesday, we're going to have the advanced prices with the National Dairy Sales Report, but it's not going to be until we get the milk production report on the 22nd that we'll have another milk market tidbit.